cutout, and I didn't even ask, well, what's the other one for? Yeah, I probably should have. Anyway, I called in and talked to Holley Tech Support, and they've been awesome. Great guys. A little slow to respond on emails. One took about a week and a half to get that one back, which I thought was a little excessive, but hey, he at least got back. And he gave me a couple schematics. Let me get them. Okay. So he sent me a couple schematics, and they don't show you this in the manual, even the big manual. It doesn't show it. So I thought I'd show this to you. So this one is the AC for wide open throttle shutdown. And then this one is what they call the AC kick. So you have your blue wire and your orange wire. Now they're wired differently. And I talked to him at length about that because I was like, dude, the way you're doing some of your wiring, it's like backwards. You know, it's not consistent. So if you notice in this one, in the wide open throttle relay, you bring in hot on the coil. This is your power feed coming from your high pressure cutout switch, if you have that, or your cycling switch. And then it goes to ground. Yeah. So it doesn't really show it right, but that's what it does. On mine, the wide open, so when it doesn't go to ground, I apologize, I misstated. So what I have here is I have 12 volts hot on this side. I have the gray wire that goes from the Sniper. Now these two wires are the coil on the relay. These two wires are for the existing wiring. So in my case, I had a wide open throttle relay already in my power distribution box, so I just reused that. And the only thing I had to change was the ground side. This gray wire goes, the gray wire out of the Sniper connects to that terminal. What happens is when it detects wide open throttle, it grounds and completes the circuit, shutting off the air compressor. So you get a little more RPM. It's not robbing RPM. All right, now this one, the kick relay, what that does is you turn your AC on. This kick relay works to tell the Sniper, hey, he just kicked the compressor on for the AC. You might want to idle up a little higher. So that's basically what this is doing. So you have these two here, the coil, and both of these are chassis ground. So I just did a loop to run them to ground. Then I put the orange wire back in my 10-pin connector. And so what's different about these two is this one is, the gray wire is grounding the relay coil. And in this one, it's got 12 volts coming out of the Sniper, going across the contacts, and then going to ground. So all it's doing is grounding, and that's what's telling the Sniper, hey, go ahead and kick the RPM up a little bit. So that's the difference. So I originally wasn't, I did the wide open throttle relay here, but I didn't know anything about the kick. After I talked to them and they described it to me, what it was doing, I was like, you know what, I better wire that in. Just, why not? I don't have my wiring all sealed up yet. When I wired it in, I just left most of the wires loose just so I could fire it up and make sure everything worked properly before I got it all nice and pretty. So I still have time to do that. The other diagram they sent me is for the fans. Now the Sniper it can control 2 fans, or you could use one of them for another purpose if you chose to. But in this case, this is a schematic he sent me for my Sniper. And the wiring, I think, is just not quite clear, but so you have your 2 relays here. What's not clear is, if you look, they have this orange wire going to both fans. I mean, the way it looks, it's like you got one orange wire coming out of this relay, orange wire coming out of this relay. It ties into here, and then they go over and they go to both fans. Well, that doesn't give you individual control on your fans. So why have 2 fan outputs if the way this is shown wired is controlling? Either one will kick on both fans, is basically what's going to happen. I didn't want that. I wanted to step. So, and I think that is what the original intent is. So Holley, if you guys ever see this, you might want to fix your schematic here. It does look a little off to me. If you want to do individual fan. I mean, otherwise you just need one fan control to control both of these. So that's this. Basically, coming out of there, I have a light green wire and I have a light blue wire that's coming out of the Sniper, and those are controlling the coil on the relay, which controls your fans. So that's all that is. Pretty simple, really, once you understand that these two, there should be 2 wires, one going to each fan on the orange, but they didn't quite do it that way, so they just need to correct that. So otherwise, so what I'm going to do, I had a problem. So I've got a pusher fan, but because of the way the Ranger grill is and the clearance between the radiator and the pulleys, I didn't have room to get a puller fan in there. Just wasn't going to happen. No way, no shape, no how. So I put a pusher in, and because of the way things are up there in the front, I really didn't have room to get a big 16-inch pusher in there. So I put a smaller pusher in, and I work in IT, and I gutted out a server here a while back, and I just happened to notice they had 12-volt fans on them. And the fans on a server, they move some air. They move a lot of air because the CPUs and memory and everything inside of a server generates a lot of heat. So they have to move a lot of air to keep it cool. So when I gutted those out and I noticed they were 12 volts DC fans, I was like, I might have a purpose for those. So I wired them in, and if you watch my reveal video on the Ranger, you actually hear, as soon as I turn the key on, you hear those fans running. And I just didn't particularly care for that, so I'm going to take advantage of Holley's fan 1, fan 2 setup, so I can kick them on in stages if I need to. Also, I have room on the front. I can add a couple small 5-inch ones. So I'm going to do that since I'm utilizing 2 relays now. So the other problem I had is I kept blowing the fuse. So I thought I would be really, really clever and reuse a relay in the power distribution unit that I was no longer using because it's the fuel pump relay. Well, Holley, the Sniper, has its own fuel pump relay, so I had to pull the wire out that goes to the fuel pump and wire it into the Sniper relay so it can control the fuel. So now I had this perfectly good unit, all wired. The only thing I needed to do was connect the wire that goes to the fan, where the water or fuse pump used to be. One wire, easy peasy, I thought. So I thought, well, you know what? All right, I've got that one. I also have these 3 server fans up there, I'll just wire them all into that one relay. Seemed like a good plan. And it worked good right until the fuse blew. So basically, on the power distribution unit for the fuel pump, it uses the teeny tiny fuses. Let's see if I can show this. This one right here. And you see how small these are? From what I can have found, I can't find a fuse bigger than 30 amps there. I think if I could get a 35 amp fuse for that, I would be golden, but I can't. I haven't found it, at least locally anyway. So what I'm going to do to remedy it, I got to add another relay in anyway for fan 2. So I unplugged my CPU fans. So I'm just running that 30 amp, and the old fuel pump relay is just running the bigger fan that I have up front as a pusher. I'm going to add in another relay and over on the other side, and there's already 12 volts there, so I'm just going to use that to run those 3 little fans, and eventually if I can get another 1 or 2 5 or 6 inch fans, maybe a 7 if I can fit it, to put on the front as pushers. So if I do that, I don't even need those 3 CPU fans anymore. But anyway, that's my plan. Add that second relay, that way I have all my fans running to maximize my cooling for the Ranger, because it does, the way it's sitting right now with where the Sniper's at, it sits in idles at about 186 degrees. And that's with a that fan right there blowing straight into the radiator as well. So I would like to get more cooling capacity on it so I could get it down. Now this is a warm engine, I'm not gonna lie. 10-to-1 flat tops, or actually that's slight dome. So and then it's got a decent cam. I mean, nothing massive or anything, but it's a decent cam. 544 lift on both sides. I think it's a 110 or 112 LSA. So it's not small for a 302, but it's not massive either. But should make for a nice, fun runner. So it does generate a little extra heat. That's why I want to make sure I got plenty of cooling capacity. So anyway, so what we're doing that, and I'm going to flip the camera around, and you can kind of follow along as I get those relays mounted and start working on the wiring. Again, I have not tidied my wiring up at all. I was mainly focused with getting them all connected, and I kind of ran them in a path I think I'm going to use, but they're still all loose. They're not tidy. I don't have them in wire loom yet, other than what came in wire loom with a Sniper. So don't judge me on that yet. Wait till I get it finished up, and then I'll show you the completed job. But anyway, yeah, that's what we're going to be working on. So follow along. All right. So what I'm getting ready to do here is I got to chase a couple wires. This is one of the relays I'm going to use. I already had it in stock. The gauge is way heavier than I need, but I don't want to go buy another one or waste another one when I already got that. Makes it easy, because on this one you can, if you have a problem, you need to replace the relay or something, all you got to do is just unplug it, wiring harness stays there, plug the new one in, you're good to go. So again, even though these are way heavier gauge than I need, I'm just going to use them anyway. What the heck. Yeah, and actually this has a extra coil wire that I don't even need. So I'll be cutting that off as well. But what we're going to do here is I'm planning on mounting them, I think, right here. That's kind of where I was thinking about putting that one. And then the other one I have that I left laying over there on the workbench. Slightly different style mount, but this actually, the connector is what you screw into the wherever you mount it, and then the relay just plugs in like so. So I just got to figure out where I'm going to do that, and yeah, drill the holes and run the screws, and we're good. So this is the one I'm going to use for the I think the AC kick relay. And then this one, since it does have some heavier gauge wire, I'll use that for the fans. And now that I got the camera turned around, I don't know if you can see them, but here are those 3 fans I was talking about. I did mount them in a polar configuration because I had the room up here to kind of help help do the initial cool as this is going across. So anyway, that's my plan. All right. So what I'm thinking here is I got to put the other one up fairly high, I believe. So just to have them roughly at the same level. I suppose. Nah, I didn't figure I could get that lucky. All right. Roughly right there. Okay. That'll be the first one. Let me get my drill. We'll get the holes drilled. And keep moving on. All right. One thing I was going to, I was just reaching for these, so I thought I'd show you. I have, somebody turned me on to these. Milwaukee makes these pins. They're basically just like the Sharpies, but this is an extra fine point Sharpie here. Works well, works well. But supposedly these Milwaukees, whatever, I don't know what the difference is, but they claim they're ink saw, and they claim they'll write on about anything. And so they have this one, which is a fine point, and then they have this one, which is a ultra fine point, basically similar to the Sharpie brand. So I was just reaching for one of those so I can define my mark from the grease pencil a little better. So I know where to drill my hole. And one more trip back over here to get a center punch. so the drill doesn't want to walk as bad. So when you're working upside down, it's not always easy to get these suckers level. So we do what we gotta do. All right, I grabbed the drill, but I did not grab the drill bit that I got sitting there waiting to anxiously get these holes drilled. All right, let's see if we can drill a hole. Bit ain't the sharpest. Definitely ain't the sharpest. Didn't sharpen that. All right, sorry guys. It's just going round and round and ain't doing a whole heck of a lot. So what I'm going to do is pilot drill it and then see if I can finish drilling with this. Should have done that to begin with, honestly. Always works better if you can pilot drill your holes. Just a little tip, when you are drilling holes, the bigger the hole you need to drill, the more steps you need to make. So going from a small one like this, and then you just step up. I usually do 3 to 4 steps at a time, depending on, till I get into the bigger areas. Then I might do, say, 1/4 to 3/8, 3/8 to half. Half to 5/8, something like that is usually the steps I might make. Depends on the metal and all that I'm dealing with also. Just like that, we drilled the hole. All right, now let's see if I can drop the drill bit. I did a pretty good job of dropping that drill bit, didn't I, guys? Yep. I'm a master. I've got a master's degree in dropping stuff. I don't know if any of you guys went to that same school I did. Got that same kind of a degree, but I definitely got one, that's for sure. Good thing I didn't hit the outside fender. That would have been ugly. I definitely got to sharpen that bit. That has to happen. A dull bit just doesn't work. Causes more trouble than it's worth. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and mount that relay mount. And hopefully I got the hole the right size. I didn't get it too big or too small. Because if it's too small, you'll snap your screw. Too big, well, it just doesn't do what it's supposed to do. Oh yeah, nice little bite, perfect. Got lucky. I got real lucky on that one. That don't happen very often for me. I'm that guy they wrote the song about. If it weren't for bad luck, I wouldn't have any luck. All right. Perfect. Now we'll get the relay plugged in. And I don't know why this is tight, but it's tight. I know, you know, there's times you like a good tight fit, and there's times you want a snug fit, not a tight fit. But we will make it work. If you're wondering where you get these blue relays, well, I can't tell you. I got lucky. Company I used to work for, part of my job at that time was to integrate a machine to software. And so I was over in France at this company that was building a machine for a US company here and doing the integration piece of it. And across the way, they had a machine that cranked out them relays. Can't tell you the brand name, not allowed to, but we got to talking, and you know they were car guys too. It was actually pretty cool stuff talking with the guys. Had a great time over there. Spent 16 days over there. 14 days. Anyway, as we were discussing this, I was talking about those relays. I'm telling you what, I'm not exaggerating. This machine would crank out, I think they said 500 to 600 a minute. Think about that, 500 to 600 a minute. That's cranking these bad boys out. It was pretty cool watching it. Anyway, before I left, they asked me if I could use some. I was like, oh yeah, I could use them. So they gave me a whole bag full of them. I think I had 50 that they gave me. But the deal was I couldn't have, there's no name on the relay. There's no, the markings aren't on there. Because the stamp that they had to put the markings on there for all the terminals, what each terminal did, also had the company's name on it, and he wasn't allowed to give that out. So they don't have labels on them. But luckily they are the same as all the other ones I have dealt with in the past. And so it's a no-brainer to figure out what terminal's what. You use relays as long as I have, and I actually used to be a design engineer, and I designed relays and contactors and stuff a long time ago. And so I was actually did work on this style of relay as well. This was back in the 1990s. Back before solid state really started coming into play. Yes, I'm an old geezer. As much as it pains me to admit it. See if this dull bit will get one more hole punched through. Good deal. All right. We'll get these mounted, this last one mounted, and then I got to call it a night because I got to get up at 4:45 in the morning and go work out. Can't wait. As you can tell, I ain't exactly thin. Spent a lot of years building this shed, tool shed, if you know what I mean, guys. But Doc says I gotta lose weight, so I've been getting up, going to the gym, and trying to not eat all the good stuff. And all right, here we go. So as soon as I get back in the shop again, so we got this wire. This needs to go to one of them, and this wire. This is the AC kick relay, and this is fan 2. And I just got to take this connector off from that side that was going into the other fan relay, flip it around and run it back over here to this one. I already have power down here, so yeah, so we'll get that going. And next video I do Friday, I'll try and do one on Friday, then we'll get all this tidied up. I'll be ready to put the hood on finally and take it for a drive. Till the next one, thanks for watching, and be sure and like and subscribe. We sure appreciate it, and helps us keep content coming. So have a great one.